Welcome back to CryptosRus. I'm George. We're all George. Welcome to another market open stream. Today is looking pretty darn green. Bitcoin bulls are back. Bitcoin is right below $30,000 once again. So what's prompting this? Why are the bulls back and why are so many bears getting liquidated once again? Well, let's discuss all these things and more. Welcome, guys. About 30 seconds away from the opening bell, and look at that. Look at that. Do you call that a V-shaped recovery? Maybe a U-shaped recovery? Maybe a little W? But Bitcoin pumped up in a major way. Started last night. I showed you guys. Started last night. We went up to like 27.5, 27.6. And I'll give you the exact reason, but since then we have gone up over 2,000 points and we're inching 30,000 once again. So, did any of you guys doubt Bitcoin? Hopefully not, because if you did and you sold off, well, now you're probably regretting it. Today, the U.S. market is looking like it will be in the green, I believe. And that's because, you know, Microsoft had a very good earnings report. But what's really important is this right here. First Republic Bank. Okay? Just when people thought the government bailed out all the banks and there's nothing to worry about, well, First Republic is still looking bad. Yesterday went down 50%. Today, still down 12%. And many are thinking that FDIC and or Fed will step in and take over ASAP. That's because their deposits are dwindling. People are pulling their money out. Why would you leave it in there, first of all, if you had any doubt about the bank and their solvency and whether or not they're going to be around in a month, right? Of course, no one would put their money in there. And of course, when banks are struggling, where else do you go park your money, right? Bitcoin. Well, at least for some, right? This new narrative is starting to play out. Bank failures, distrust in banks helps Bitcoin, right? We're starting to see that. It's a narrative that is basically proven at this point because Bitcoin actually is starting to go up this year because of all the bank weaknesses. And some people discarded that, saying, no, I don't think it's that. No, I mean, it plays a big part. I mean, this is pretty obvious. If you have more bank fears going on right now, Bitcoin starts going up, there is definitely a correlation, right? But there's also another thing that a lot of people are missing out on. And it's funny because I just brought this up with someone yesterday. What about this whole notion of just this debt ceiling? You know, this was talked about early on in the year, right? Like around December, January time. And people kind of forgot about it, right? But this debt ceiling thing needs to be resolved ASAP in the U.S. This is coming up. I think it's in June. Okay, so we're almost in May. So this is coming up. And Yellen keeps saying, if we don't raise the debt ceiling, there will be an economic catastrophe in the U.S. Okay, it will be Armageddon because we have never, ever defaulted. And it would lead to a cascading, cascading downfall where, you know, the bond market would crash, our credit rating would crash, and we would no longer be able to borrow all the money we need in the future, right? I mean, if you think about it, short-term pains may be better for long-term, right? Maybe if we stood our ground and said no more, okay, no more irresponsible spending, we can't just print trillions more. Maybe in the long run that would actually be good, but you know that that's not going to happen. No one wants to deal with it. People just say, just leave it for future generations. Everyone will just continue to vote on, yes, increasing the ceiling. Let's just print more money out. It's okay, right? We'll figure it out later, or future generations will, right? But this is also what's happening right now that I believe is helping the Bitcoin narrative. Besides bank failures and weakness, right? People are fed up about inflation, right? And people are learning about inflation. Why does inflation happen? Well, mostly because of irresponsible spending and overprinting. it's really what it comes down to, right? So you got billionaire investor Stanley Druckenmiller, who is a big Bitcoin bull now. He's like, I'm all in on Bitcoin. He's shorting the dollar because he does not agree with the Fed, and he believes that, you know, the Fed is weaponizing the currency. That's a strong word, weaponizing, right? But that's kind of like exactly what's happening right now. So all these things are definitely helping Bitcoin get stronger. We know Bitcoin's going to get stronger regardless, right? But there's more reasons to believe in Bitcoin these days than ever before. We didn't have this narrative back in 2017, right? I still remember 2017 like it was yesterday. We had this big pump up to 20,000. Everyone was cheering, but we didn't really have this narrative that, yeah, Bitcoin could actually get stronger with bank weakness, can actually survive a recession, can actually do well when we have all these economic macro issues going on. But Bitcoin is proving that it can do well in all these conditions. And it's only going to get stronger, right? From here on out. It will. It will. I was looking at liquidation data this morning. You got a lot of shorts wrecked once again. Again, it boggles my mind why anyone would want to short Bitcoin. If you're a degen expert trader, maybe. But you have, again, like 100 million plus of shorts wrecked and liquidated. And I'm okay with that. You know, I'm not going to shed any tears for the shorters of Bitcoin. And as Bitcoin climbs to higher and we go above 30,000 and go to 40,000, we will see more shorts get wrecked. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, every shorter should just throw out 100x, 125x, all get liquidated, and we'll have a good old short squeeze, okay, or 2 or 3. That's what we're looking for. It's definitely going to help drive Bitcoin's price higher. Now, of course, besides the shorters getting wrecked, that's helping the holders. Holders are just like, you know, their conviction and faith has never been higher. You go back, you look at a supply of Bitcoin held for 5+ years or 3+ years or 2+ years or even 1+ year, they're all at all-time high. Okay, and if this had one for 10+ years, it would be at all-time high. Basically, holders are just, they're just holding more. They're DCAing. Most of you guys in here are DCAing with me, right? Continue to DCA regardless of the price, regardless of what's going on, because we know Bitcoin is the way, right? That is why the supply being held continues to go up. And as the inflation rate of Bitcoin keeps dropping, unlike the US and every other currency out on the world where inflation keeps on rising and will be rising forever, inflation never stops, in case you guys are wondering. Even when the Feds finally, you know, thinks they have done enough, right, and inflation is down, the rate of inflation is 2 to 3%. That's what they want. It's never at 0%. Because they feel like if it's at 0%, then that's bad. You have to inflate it, right? So every currency on earth is being inflated every single year. So if you think, oh, you know, this will go away. No, it's never going to go away. That's why Bitcoin is so fantastic, because Bitcoin's inflation gets cut in half every 4 years until it goes to 0 and there's no more. Unlike every other currency on earth where there's just more of it every single year. Think about that for a second. Everything else inflates, so the pool gets bigger and bigger every year, forever, infinitely, while Bitcoin's pool gets smaller, not only because inflation is cut in half every 4 years, but the number of holders are increasing every year. So, I mean, just do the math. Supply and demand, it's really that simple. There will be a lot more demand in the future than now, and there will be a lot less supply in the future than now. Okay, just look at a supply and demand chart and you'll know what I'm talking about. So, awesome stuff. And here's a reminder from Plan B. There's 56 million millionaires out there, at least according to 2020. So this may be a little bit higher. Since 2020, maybe there's more millionaires, or maybe there's less. I don't know. But regardless, there's more millionaires out there than the number of Bitcoins out there, okay? There's only about 19.5 million Bitcoins, but there's 56 million millionaires. Again, do the math. There's not enough Bitcoin for every millionaire out on the planet. But what about the billionaires and the trillionaires and whoever else? There's definitely not enough. So just think about that. Think about the day when all the millionaires out there are fighting for Bitcoin, and then you have all the billionaires fighting for a ton of Bitcoin, and then you have countries and trillionaires that are fighting for Bitcoin too. By then, everyone's fighting for sats. They're not even fighting for whole Bitcoins anymore. They're fighting for individual sats. And right now, I've shown this before, Bitcoin's current trajectory, short term, is very similar to 2019. Although a little bit extended, but, you know, history doesn't repeat, but it tends to rhyme, and it's looking like it's rhyming right now. And if that's the case, then our next stop is probably in the 40s and 50s. So that's also fantastic. And if you look at it from a longer perspective, okay, this is where we are in the cycle. We have entered the new bull cycle. I've been arguing this for a while, okay? We're out. We're out from the bottom. We are in a new bull cycle. We're just not at the tail end bull run, okay? But we're in the bull cycle already. There's no doubt about it. And this confirms it too, that we're in the green and it's just getting started. And according to this, Bitcoin will end at 350,000 by the end of 2025, okay? That's more than 10x from its current level right now. Think about that. 10x. And if Bitcoin could do a 10x, what's Ethereum going to do? What's Cardano going to do? What's XRP going to do if they win that lawsuit? Right? What is Avalanche and Polygon and Solana and everyone else? What are they going to do? A 20x? 30x? Hey, maybe in the books. So, buckle up and strap on. Better days are coming. And then a couple articles. Circle CEO blames U.S. crypto crackdown and declining USDC market cap. Well, that's part of it, but let's not forget they also had $3 billion that almost went bye-bye because they had it stored on Silvergate, right? So that caused a lot of declining market cap because people actually converted to USDT. People hate USDT, but they still converted because they didn't like USDC. So they got bailed out by that. But I will say, yes, half of it is definitely due to Gary Gensler, which has been very anti-crypto, let's say, for a while now. But a lot of it is from this year, like cracking down and doing all the stuff and still not answering whether or not Ethereum is a security. He just can't do it. He can't. And something else that may be good, Apple's lawsuit with Epic Games, or Epic Games lawsuit against Apple, right? Primarily, I think Apple won most of the things argued. However, there's one thing that they argue they lost, and that is that game makers and app makers can link to an external payment source so that they can bypass the 30% Apple tax. And many people think that this is fantastic because NFTs and Web3 gaming, right? A lot of them are brand new. A lot of them could be blockchain based, and they can't pay that 30%. It doesn't even make any sense. For example, if you're using a Coinbase wallet, the specific like self-custody wallet, not Coinbase app, but if you're using the Coinbase wallet, for example, you can't send NFTs out of it because Apple's expecting a 30% fee on the Ethereum gas fee that is required to send an NFT. So Coinbase is like, we can't give you that even if we wanted to, right? But that's how unfair it is right now because Apple doesn't take those things into account. So maybe with this, something could be worked out. The same thing with games and other dApps that may be coming aboard to the Apple iOS system, or maybe a better yet, just don't go into Apple's store, right? Maybe there's some project that could come out with their own app store, one that's universal for all chains and all dApps, right? Maybe that's what we need. We don't have that yet. We have individual smaller dApp stores for different chains. But how about someone build the next generation of the App Store for all Web3 apps, right? That would be fantastic. And hint, hint, hopefully someone's listening and builds that out, because I think that would be absolutely fantastic. All right. That is pretty much it today, guys. Let's do some, oh, NASDAQ is unchanged. Interesting. Let's do some Q&A. I was trying to create this morning, but I didn't have time. But today will be the very first of my new weekly Twitter Spaces. Okay, so every Wednesday, 6:30 p.m., right before my stream, I'll be hosting Spaces along with my co-host, someone on my team, Josh, and we will be, discussing various topics, inviting various projects and leaders to participate, right? So this will be happening every Wednesday now. I know a lot of you guys are on Twitter. A lot of you guys are not on Twitter, but Spaces is like the new hot thing for podcasting and collaboration. So just FYI, it'll be a very first one today at 6:30. I'm going to make a reminder on Twitter so you guys can get notified. But today's all about crypto security, which may be fascinating for some of you guys. Someone says, any advice for using Linux? Are you a fan? My advice is to switch to Windows. That's my advice. Let's see. Can we hit 31K during the stream? No, it does seem like there's a little bit of bear pressure right now. Bitcoin did briefly surpass 30,000, but we need a little bit more. Let's see. Today is Wednesday, huh? I'll be doing DCA tonight. It'll be marvelous. Ooh. First Republic is going to shut down soon. If it has another minus 50% day today, tomorrow for sure, they're going to announce that they're closing. Ed, please explain the difference between long and shorting Bitcoin. Yeah, one is you're expecting the price to go up. One is expecting the price to go down. That's really it. And these guys gambled that Bitcoin was going to go down. And they gambled wrong. They picked the wrong side. What's your favorite coin under 1 billion market cap? I don't know. 1 billion. There's too many. I don't have favorites. I've been eyeing Injective a lot more, so they were down massively over the last week or so. So I don't know if they're my favorite, but I've been looking at them a lot more. And there's others in here that I do like. Obviously, you can't ignore Singularity because the AI space right now. I also moved past Conflux, which is very interesting because obviously China's making a big push into crypto. Conflux is huge in China. They're the first chain to get some kind of regulatory approval or something, so you can't ignore that. Optimism, I've skipped over that, but one of the biggest L2s out there. I mean, there's a lot of interesting plays. Outside of outside of the $1 billion market cap, I guess. No, I will not be doing a 24-hour live stream. That's just ridiculous. Oh, gaining strength again. Oh, gaining strength. Altcoin Data post on Twitter that Uniswap hit $3 trillion in volume for this year. Isn't that more than some stock exchanges? That's a good question. I don't know. But I'm sure stock markets have way more than $3 trillion in volume. Most of them. But maybe in some countries, maybe not. Shoda. I've been watching you since you started. You should look into like BAB or Teeker, Bax. Yeah, I guess there's a lot of 100x gems. I'll secretly look at them, but right now I don't know. Not sure about any of those. There is one that I've been talking about, like a microcap play that I believe in, and it's due to the show that I'm on, the next crypto gem that I recorded, a few weeks ago, getting closer and closer to airing on TVs and streaming devices everywhere in July, right? It's not just like a YouTube show. It's going to be absolutely huge. I'm very, very excited about that show. I think season 2 and season 3, we're just going to go bigger and bigger. We might even rent Warner Brothers studio for that. It's going to change. It's going to change the landscape of crypto. But the company behind it, Hourglass, which I am now advisor for, very hopeful for that project and a lot of the things that they're coming out with. And I'm very, very anxious to watch the show. And I think you guys will enjoy it. Richard, check out WagMe Games, GameStop partner. I am familiar with them. Smaller game project. I think they're on Immutable X, right? Very small. Looks like they have a mobile game. Potential there. What do I know about Axie Infinity? Well, their token economics for SLP kind of screwed up, and that really screwed up the game and how profitable it was to play, and that kind of screwed up like a lot of the Asian audience because they were playing to actually make money, and because they kept selling off SLP, kind of ruined it, and I don't know where they are now. They dropped out of the top 100. Where is Axie? No, they're 54. I missed them. right? But they were like once upon a time, they were so big and dominant. I mean, they're still at like $1 billion, so they haven't gone away, but they had to revise their SLP. You know, token economics is very important. It's extremely important. So I think a lot of game makers are trying not to fall into the same trap. Can artificial intelligence do Gary's job? You know, I honestly think yes. I think a lot, and to be fair, I think artificial intelligence could do a lot of people's jobs. You know, ChatGPT seems to be getting smarter and smarter and smarter. I think it could fill a lot of people's jobs. So not just Gary's. Copper giraffe already arrived. It's sitting in my garage. It's been there since last winter. Shannon, appreciate you being here as well. Thank you for helping out. Much love from Houston. You know, for those of you guys that are in the chat right now, you may have noticed I pinned, okay? I know a lot of you guys are I Am George NFT holders, and if you are and you happen to be in Miami next week or 2 weeks from now for the Bitcoin conference, regardless if you're going to the conference or not, but if you are planning on going, first of all, buy a ticket with my affiliate link. But if you're not, but you just happen to be in an area, well, join me because I'm hosting a party, a really nice party, along with Hourglass. So fill out that form. I'll tweet that form later on too, but I don't want it to be just like spreading everywhere, right? So if you guys are going to be attending or in Miami and want to attend, then make sure you fill out that form. Am I psychic? According to Ferndog, no. But I don't know, I'm pretty good at reading things, I guess. Some people argue broken clocks are right twice a day. You could argue that too, but I am forever bullish. I truly understand. I didn't understand what I know now before. I was just bullish because I wanted to make money before, and I still want to make money now. But, you know, if you just learn about money, there's no way you would not be bullish about Bitcoin. If you learn about how fiats work, how central banks work, how the Fed works, how inflation works, and anything to do with money, the more you learn about it, the more you get scared and realize it's all based on a Ponzi scheme that is not sustainable, and it makes you more bullish on Bitcoin. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. If you don't believe me, go learn about money, and you'll become more bullish on Bitcoin. Stan, of course, you can have sats. You could have 0.1 Bitcoin. I'm saying whole Bitcoins. There can't be enough whole Bitcoins for everyone out there when there's more millionaires than the number of Bitcoins, okay? Richie, no. Unfortunately, no. The whole point is to reward the people that supported me with the purchase, right? You know, as the market climbs up, I'm going to start thinking about the GeorgeCon conference. The reason why I even came out with the NFT collection was, first of all, a lot of you guys asked for it. And second of all, it was really like a way to gain entry into future conferences, right? So still planning for that. Every time I plan for it, you know, Bitcoin crashes, so it's not a good time. But you know what? I think planning one for, say, like 2024, I think it'll be a good time. But in the meantime, maybe small meetups, small parties like this one in Miami. Will Lakers claw out tonight? I think so. Memphis is done. I love all the people like trolling Brooks, you know, like he was talking smack towards LeBron, and he's just like, you know, he's not even close to the same level. Like, you know, there's no, it doesn't even make any sense, right? But I love people, you know, trolling him right now. What is the average stake rate you get on BTC? There's no really average stake rate. There's no staking Bitcoin. There may be some liquidity pools that need Bitcoin as liquidity, and you could get some yield for that, but I don't know much. I can't even think of one off the top of my head. Because most pools are based on ETH. But there's that, but Bitcoin is proof of work. It's not proof of stake. There's no native staking. Any price predictions for Cosmos? Yeah, I'm predicting it'll go up. Cosmos, I can't tell you how many promising projects I've been talking to recently, at least 4 or 5. It's all coming out of Cosmos. They're coming out with their chain out of Cosmos. They're taking advantage of IBC, inter-blockchain communication. You know, that makes me feel very good about Cosmos. Overall, I think IBC is big. They're still coming out there renting consensus, or I forgot what they call it. That should have more value for Atom holders, but there's just a lot being developed right now. DeFi specifically, there's a lot coming out of Cosmos. It's looking good. Jerry, I have 0 thoughts on ISO 200022. And here's why. Why do you care about a bank standard? We're in crypto. Why would you want crypto to adhere to bank standards? You wouldn't. I think it's a horrible thing. Not horrible, but it shouldn't be a decision maker whether or not you get into crypto. Okay, because why would you want to use something that the banks are using? No, you're trying to replace the banks, right? You're trying to send money worldwide or between banks or institutions or between people, not following bank standards. Norman, appreciate that. Let's see. Is it normal to be down 40% of your portfolio at this stage? I joined in the last cycle DCA. Guess we are early in the second one. I don't know, Claus. I mean, even a sample portfolio that I am still DCAing, which I will be tonight, that one's down like 20%. So if you're still down like 40%, you know, maybe you went a little too heavy into alts. Because right now, BTC dominance is very high. So it's right now, if you look at it, it's close to 47%. So maybe you're just a little heavier in alts, which will come back. But right now, it's obviously there's more strength with Bitcoin. Bitcoin always leads the way. Okay, and that has not changed. Maybe in the next cycle or the cycle after that, it starts changing. But right now, it's still leading the way. And usually alts get stronger after Bitcoin comes close to topping out. So I think that's the reason. If I had to guess. I don't know your portfolio. And don't tell me what it is either. Crispy says, why sound like a maxi but push alts also? Because I am both. I still don't think you or other people realize that Bitcoin does not compete with any other alt. If you get that through your head, then you realize you could be bullish on both. They don't compete. Bitcoin maxis will make you feel like they do, and how Ethereum and others are taking away from Bitcoin. That's ridiculous. Okay? Does Microsoft and Apple compete with gold? No. That's the same comparison. Bitcoin is digital gold. And Ethereum and Cardano and Cosmos, they're the next generation of Apple, Microsoft, Facebook. So unless you think Microsoft and Apple and Facebook competes with gold, okay, then maybe you have an argument. But the two are so different, right? That if you get that through your head, then you realize they're not in competition to each other. And companies fail and they get replaced, which is why I've said the only crypto that I know for sure will be around in 20 years, 30 years, 50 years is Bitcoin. Because Ethereum and Cardano and others could be replaced by something else, just like tech companies, right? So if you get that through your head, then you realize they're not in competition. But a lot of people don't get that. They like to bash, like Bitcoin Maxi like to bash Ethereum. Like, why? It actually makes you look weaker for doing that. If you're the top dog, why do you care about anything else, right? So that's how I look at it. It's not even a valid debate. Crypto Passion, I appreciate that. I already answered that super chat. Can artificial intelligence do Gary's job? And I said yes. I'm pretty sure. Don't punch down, skipping stones. Exactly. Exactly. All right. I think that's enough for this morning. Bitcoin is still looking very strong. Wants to break through that 30,000. That's because we have another very weak bank that's about to go under. First Republic down 21%, down 50% yesterday. People are panicking. FDIC/Fed will be confiscating this bank in the near future. No doubt about it. It's coming. Either today or tomorrow, it's coming. You're going to see this halting, stock market halted or trading halted for this bank. And let's not forget the U.S. debt, the debt ceiling, right? These are things that are strengthening Bitcoin's narrative, strengthening the holders' convictions. All great things, and that is why holders continue to hodl and DCA. All right, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, but also see you in my weekly Twitter Spaces on Twitter, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right, make sure you follow it. All right, have a good one. Take care.